Siku kama hii, Agosti tarehe 7 mwaka wa 1998, nilikuwa waziri wa elimu. I had taken a fixed-wing flight to Hola to start with an agricultural show in Hola and Tana River, and then attended the first graduation ceremony of Garissa Teachers Training College, which eventually became now Garissa University. Itself became a victim of international terror. I remember we had to be called back quickly, went into a cabinet meeting, and the whole country was under the grip of an incredible situation. Then I realized that one of our cabinet colleagues was not there, the late Joseph Kamotho. And now as it is, Ambassador Prudence Bushnell was in the office on the 21st floor, in Honorable Joseph Kamotho's office at the cooperative building. Perhaps that's how she survived. We still in our testimony. What followed there was amazing. Now, during the course of the events then, Kenyans in matatus, Kenyans from all walks of life, braved the situation, the tragedy, literally. And they were their brothers and sisters' keeper. They were not as trained as we heard today from the wonderful lady, but they carried each other, carried each other's burden. They never asked each other, what political party do you belong to? They were just Kenyans helping each other. And I think this is important for us to reflect even as now, as at this particular time as Kenyans. Could we live the example of Kenyans in 1998? Be our brothers and our sisters' keeper. When Americans have gone through difficult times, remember September 11th had not happened. In fact, I was of the view that if the lesson from Nairobi had been taken seriously, September 11th could have been avoided. But maybe the world thought that is a tragedy in a third world country. Little did anybody know that was going to catch up with everybody. Dar es Salaam happened, Nairobi happened, the world assumed it's normal until September 11th happened. So this Green Park is indeed reminiscent in a way of what happened of September 11th in New York, and a lesson that we are all the same. We are one, wherever we are. I once was Minister for Foreign Affairs, and I remember appearing before making a presentation before the UN Security Council, not once or twice or third or three times, severally. And when Berlin Wall collapsed, and the period of Cold War was seemingly at an end, the world had assumed that the time to reap the peace dividend had come. But what do you instead reap? Terrible tragedies. Senators, I'll just be talking to you in a minute. Instead of having the peace dividend, we had hot wars everywhere, a product of international hate and terrorism. Well, instead of the Berlin Wall collapsing and bringing with it thereafter peace, the world is hotter. Today, as I was driving here, I was listening to a young musician from Ukraine appearing before Steven Saka of BBC. He had to come in, was in the front line fighting for his country, Ukraine. And if the world is not careful, the war on Ukraine by Russia could turn out to be the opposite of what indeed we have all hoped for. We cannot sit pretty, and we wish that the world will take responsibility together and put humanity together again. Well, we are hearing stories of military coup d'etats everywhere. As of yesterday, the military junta was supposed to hand over to ECOWAS on Sunday after the coup in Niger. Hot wars everywhere. But in this region, because we are at the Horn of Africa, literally, I don't know if you look at the map of Africa and see the Horn of Africa, that horn seems deadly. We are surrounded by a lot of instability as a country. Somalia, Ethiopia is even now beginning to deal with the situation again in the integration area of Ethiopia. We all know what's happening in Sudan, north and south. And then, of course, within the East African region, we are trying the best we can. We hope if Somalia joins East African community, things will be different. And therefore, growth of religious extremism, some of it pretty bizarre, as Kenyans will have witnessed in Shakahola. These are the challenges of our time. And so, Bwana Kiragu, as you hold us together, call us together here, we want to thank every Kenyan who braved this situation and others unborn. And I want to call on Jean Bahati, who spoke here, just before I end my presentation. If Jean, please, could be somewhere. I want to thank Senator Kavindu and the team of the Senate for what you are doing. Injustice anywhere is injustice everywhere. And we hold the view that if we continue to work in justice as Kenyans against each other, we will continue to be a restless nation. Our American friends, you have done well. The Arlington, this is, of course, once reminds anybody who has been to the U.S. of Arlington Place in Washington and Ground Zero Place in New York. This is our Ground Zero. So many Kenyans died unnecessarily. It has been said we took the bullet on behalf of American friends. But we also want to say that the time to bring closure, I agree with my sister mother, the time to bring closure is now. Dr. Romana, is it Romana or Ramana? Thank you. Thank you and welcome home. You said you are 9th generation. We take it from today that you are a Kenyan because you have helped your brothers and sisters. Tusife moyo wa Kenya wenzangu. I know some of the people who got affected here personally. I don't know whether my brother Michael Kwale is here. He buried his wife a place towards Mwingi. I know Simon Kavisi could have been here. He became the TSC secretary. Even Zomo became the chair of the TSC commission. All affected because the Teachers Service Commission were housed here. And I was their minister at the time. Therefore, Teachers Service Commission continue being strong. And all of us as Kenyans. The cooperative bank, in fact, this bank will grow to heights that are unimaginable because they took the brunt of this beating.